Some decorative things to do for your house, Paul.
I really am. I am in a beautiful neighborhood here in Sacramento, inside a home that's under construction. Andrew will give you a little look at what's going on here. And I know a lot of you might be sitting there with your notepads thinking you're going to be getting some great advice for how to maybe do some decorative finish at your home, but you're going to discover very quickly that I'm talking to an artist this morning who might be able to do some techniques you never will, but we can marvel at what he does. This is Aurel Onat. How are you, Aurel?
I'm very fine, thank you very much.
Very nice to meet you. Originally from Romania?
I am originally from Romania, part of Transylvania.
Okay, and you have a very unique gift that is not common in this country. We should say first that you trained as an iconographer, which is to say the beautiful artwork that we see in churches.
Yes, I was training like 10 years in churches and monastery in Romania. I was working with a very old teacher who explained me everything about the walls, fresco, egg tempera, and plaster, everything.
Yeah, and in fact, some work of yours that we will see here in the Sacramento area, while you are not the primary contractor, you were one of the artisans that did the restoration of the beautiful Church of the Blessed Sacrament in downtown Sacramento.
Yes, I was part of the crew. The company was from New York, Evergreen Painting Studio. They chose me to repair the cracks on the wall and apply gold leaf and match the color for them in the Cathedral and Blessed of Sacramento.
Well, we would love to look at some of that work, but today we're looking at this beautiful home you're working on here. So let's just talk about some of the surfaces in this room alone. Later on, we'll talk about some others. First, the ceiling, Aurel, which is beautiful. Obviously, there are wood beams, but then you have put a colored texture on the ceiling. What's that?
Yes, first thing was, because you need to prepare the wall, we apply primer. After that, we apply Venetian plaster. We mix with color, depends the color that the owner choose.
Well, sure, and by the way, I'll interrupt. We have heard about Venetian plaster, and it's kind of the rage when you're looking at decorator magazines. Venetian plaster is different from normal wall plaster in what way?
Yes, you need to make the difference. The Venetian plaster, it could be acrylic Venetian plaster, and you need to make a difference in lime-based plaster, which is coming from Venice, Italy. Which is combined with marble dust and lime.
Yeah, and we'll be looking at lime plaster a little bit later, but in here it's the Venetian.
This is acrylic Venetian plaster, okay, called caustic Venetian plaster.
And it's smoother than the standard.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
It's very smooth, and you can apply wax over the top to protect the Venetian plaster. You can play with a lot of color waxes, pigment. And you can apply stencil, decoration, even gold leaf like a 23 karat.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Joe, this does, I'm sure, not look like the ceiling in your house or mine, but look at the gold leaf work. And yeah, I'm sure Andrew can pull some of that out. That's just extraordinary. And that's done with a stencil?
No, I make my own stencil, and I apply in the wall, and after that I apply very special glue 12 hours before to apply gold leaf. And after gold leaf, we need to protect the gold leaf with a very special sealer.
So that's an actual very thin layer of real gold?
Yes, it's very thin layer of real gold is 23 karat and a half.
Wow. So again, we're in a beautiful home, and we obviously have an artist at work. We're going to talk about lime plaster, which we just saw out in the entryway, and I'll try to find some techniques that Aurel thinks maybe we could attempt ourselves, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay.
Paul, there's nothing there whatsoever that I could do, Paul. Not any of it. Thank you so much, Paul. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Not even the stencil work.
Yeah, not even the stencil. No, not the gold stencil. You can contact Byzantine Painting Studio 247-6271. All right.
Yeah, Joe, you talk too much. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Paul is checking out some beautiful decorative finishes, and you can try them around your house. Paul.
Looks a lot like our general manager Bob Ramsey's house, doesn't it? Coming up, you're going to be seeing a genuine old world craftsman at work, and we're going to see one technique at least you might be able to use yourself at your house.
And imagine being stranded aboard
a line for 4 and 5 hours these days.
Okay, we've been watching Paul hanging out with Mr. Decorative today, and he's doing a beautiful job, Paul.
Oh, that place is beautiful.
I have to tell you, this has really been fascinating for me. I've been spending time with Aurel Onat, who is officially trained as an iconographer, work in churches, and yet he has these old world skills that he's employing at beautiful houses in Northern California. I hope you guys cannot, I don't know if you can grasp, this is a lime plaster, correct, Aurel?
Yeah, it's a lime-based plaster.
And it has this marble feel to it, and it's shiny and smooth. It feels so different from any surface I've ever felt in a house. It feels like it's been here 100 years, 1,000 years.
Yes, and it's very interesting to have something like that in your home, and it's older the texture, And
Yeah, well, let's walk along here because there's much to show. We're walking through a beautiful home that is obviously still under construction here in the Sacramento area. Oral will spend 2 or 3 months here doing the finishes in this house, if it gives you some idea of what kind of work it is and the cost of work like that. As we go by, we're going to peek up high. Hang in there, fellas, just for a second. Look up high inside here. You're going to see a faux fresco, the painting around the outside. We're going to talk about the technique he might have used to do that as you head on into the first room we were in this morning. We're walking past more of this lime plaster finish here. In this room, it's a Venetian plaster, which, you know, they talk about at Home Depot, but forgive me, it doesn't turn out the same. Oral, I want to show folks, we're going to start down here if we can. Yes. You had done the faux fresco up above, essentially painting on.
yeah, it's a painting over the dry plaster, and I use a technique like Michelangelo did many years ago, 1,000 years ago, and we do like very interesting tools, how to make like this.
Well, and specifically, it is this stick that is so interesting. I've never seen anybody use a technique like this. There's a German name for the stick. What is that?
It's a Malerstock. Malerstock. It's a help stick, help hand.
Stick that helps your hand.
Yes.
And it has a soft pad on the end, and you use this. In fact, you were demonstrating with me up above this very technique for painting on the wall next to you and up above you. In fact, if you can just show, I know you're not going to paint on the wall, but yes, show if you were to paint on this wall or above your head, look how he uses the stick. And that keeps his hand away from the finished surface, and he can do it overhead or on the walls. That is one technique I'm taking away from what we've done today. And as we run off here, I'd like to end showing you troweling. I might even give it a try myself before we're done here today. But the applying of the material, whether it's Venetian plaster or lime plaster, it really all comes down to the skill with the trowel, doesn't it?
Yes, it's when you apply, you need to use a very special trowel for apply a Venetian plaster or lime-based plaster, and you need to keep the trowel like 15 degree.
Okay, I'm going to hold this up. If you want to put some on there, I'll be your backdrop here,
yes,
Oral.
You try to.
And again, all the work that you're seeing him do on the walls, it's all done with trowel. He's going to apply this, and if it was one of the finishes you've seen, he'd come back later after it's partially dried, and you essentially smooth it one more time, polish it with the trowel, correct?
Yes, polish with the trowel, and after that you can apply soapstone. It's a soapstone, it's a clear soap to protect the plaster.
And it just makes it smooth and beautiful. We have to run. I'm going to stay and keep watching. I'll send it back to you guys. Extraordinary work we've seen here today.
Thank you, Paul. He's truly an artist.
Envisioning my future house.
Yeah. Have Jose get all over that. Byzantine Painting Studio is located at 601 Crocker Road in Sacramento. Visit ByzantineMurals.com. A warning from